Morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Shop Talk Radio. It is episode 8, Wednesday, March 27th, and boy, do I have a good one for you today. I'm honored to have with us Ed Platt from Platt's Performance in Jamesburg, New Jersey. And, you're going to want to stop what you're doing, turn up the volume, and get ready to take some notes today, folks, because I got a treat for you. Ed Platt was just recently awarded the ATI Elite Honor of Top Gross Profit for the last year at the ATI Super Conference, where you guys saw me last week. And so got him here first, got a treat for you. Take some notes because you're going to want to listen to what this man has to tell you. Ed, if you can, welcome, Ed, and tell us a little bit about yourself and congratulations. Was it a surprise to you that you were the winner?
Yes, it was a shock when I heard my name called. Started this business 31 years ago, and in my hometown. Actually, I grew up across the street. Have a grown my crew is homegrown. Been with me. I've been here 31 years. I got two guys 29 and 30 years with me, and another guy 11 years with me. But yes, it was very much a surprise on Saturday night.
That is awesome, Ed. Congratulations. Teamwork makes the dream work. And as a matter of fact, I've got an added extra bonus for you. I've got Ed's coach with us, Mike Bennett. You've seen him on the show before. He's a regular guest host with me, and he's Ed's coach, owner of Mike's Cars. Say hi, Mike. And again, to you, Ed, must be a great feeling, man, to have all that hard work pay off, and you get to see that Ed up there on stage accepting that award.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me again today. And I can't tell you how proud I am of Ed and his crew. We've been working together for quite a few years. And the one thing that I can say is that Ed's a sponge. Ed wants to do the best. Ed wants to be the best. And this year he was recognized as just that, with over 1,600 member shops in ATI. Out of all of those shops, Ed averaged the highest gross profit on a weekly average for the entire year. So not only has he got some long-standing history in his community, steady growth in his business model, kind of would blow you away what he's been able to accomplish out of his shop, but to be able to do it profitably and most importantly, with the customer validation that he gets. I mean, his reviews are amazing. The feedback that he shares with me all the time, his customers coming out of the experience with the digital inspections, guy is loved, and he's found a way to be profitable at it.
Yeah, Ed, before, when I was getting ready this morning, I was taking a look at your metrics in the business control panel, and we were talking a little earlier, and I was just stunned. It was just a constant growth over the last 2 or 3 years, just steady, just like every period beats the last period. How did you do that? And was that ARO increase, was that instrumental in driving that gross profit to the level that gets you the award as top shop in ATI?
Well, the growth in the average ARO has occurred when we were always doing a paper inspection for our customers, but the digital inspection has really brought a new experience to our customer to communicate with them, to show them what's wrong with their car, and bringing that to them and doing the estimates and working with what they need, their budget, their safety things, to grow that average ARO. I also have a select market where I try to avoid having waiters in the business, so we have more time with the vehicle. So, and also time to prepare the estimates, and if they're willing to leave the car for a longer period of time for the day, there's more chance that you're going to fix what's wrong with it. It's not just an oil change. If you're looking for that, there's quick lubes. It's a service today. You need to be servicing these vehicles, and there's even if you think there's a vehicle comes in that it may have something else wrong with it that it didn't need. Last time it was in, it might have just been an oil change, but we found something else today.
Yeah, sure. And so, Mike, you were talking a little bit ago about some of those best practice metrics that you've seen Ed implementing over this period of time to lead to that stellar growth. What would you say, I mean, what's the recipe for the success from the metrics perspective and the best practices that you guys have been implementing over there?
Well, as it relates to ARO, and Ed's pretty unique. Well, I say he's unique. He's best practice in his ability to apply good margin to ARO as well. So the increase in ARO, quite honestly, has been simply the application of best practice. I mean, I know, I've jumped on the horse a little bit, and this has become a little bit of my mantra. When we're talking about average repair order value in the digital shop, there's only a couple metrics that you really need to look at that are going to really indicate, what the shop has got going on. So there's some things that are a bit unmeasured, and they just have to be best practice. And then there's some things that really are measured. So, for example, I just pulled up not only last year's 365 days in the business control panel, but most recently the 90-day average for Ed. And Ed's shop is producing. They've got over a 95% email and text opt-in. They are doing inspections they're doing over 92% of the vehicles are getting inspected, and 97% of those vehicles are having that inspection sent forward to the customer. So right there is just kind of the basic best practice model. Just get your P's and Q's in line. But I think a couple of the things that Ed does that I think have just over time, as he's really gotten it grooved in and his customer base has become more aware of it, is one, they do an exceptional job of setting the expectation during drop off. They have that conversation. They're showing people what the inspection will look like. They're actually having a conversation that predisposes the consumer to look at the inspection, study the inspection, and understand what each area will mean. We celebrate the victory by understanding that all of the things that are in green are things that we've been able to verify are in good working condition, sets the value of the car, and then follows up with those items that are in red that require immediate attention, and we're probably going to need to take care of those while the vehicle's here with us today. Sets that good initial, I need to be interested, I understand what it is. They do a great job of explaining the flow of the inspection, showing how the pictures will be able to communicate to them. And then, of course, there's information that's going to talk about what we need to do and educational videos. And so where we really see that best practice that they just have got grooved in with their clients is in motorist engagement. Looking at the same period of time you're talking about, across the last 3 years, the last 365 days, we've watched that motorist engagement time go up steadily. I think for the calendar year, Ed's shop was well over 300 seconds of motorist engagement. So, we're obviously getting into the realm of 5 and 6 minutes worth of engagement. The last 90 days, which by the way has been a new high in average repair order value. Right now, they're sitting at about $1,000 ARO. Their motorist engagement is 420 seconds. That's insane.
Yeah, I saw a couple in there that were 10 minutes, over 10 minutes.
Exactly. These motorists are engaging with this inspection somewhere between 7 and, as you've seen, 10 minutes. Is do an amazing job of making sure that what the customer sees is valuable. That's what keeps them engaged. He's editing over 28% of the photos are getting an edit, so it's not willy-nilly. They're really concentrating on the impactful pictures. And I think they've done an amazing job with that. And honestly, that's the end result. Now that big ARO at $1,000 is pretty incredible, but Ed's all-in gross profit percentage for the same period of time is almost 60%. I think it's 59.6 or 8%. That's really what this award was for, that he was recognized with. And let's be honest, in this day and age, when we have so much trouble with customers that want to price shop us, we have so much interest in, can you do it cheaper? Is it really needed now? Do you have options available for me? This inspection, that motorist engagement time, what the inspection is telling, and obviously the sales process as well. Ed and his son, both are excellent salespeople in communicating value. But here's the bottom line. If a customer sees need, if they understand the value of what you're trying to sell them, the price and therefore the profit that's attached to it is rarely a question. And that's been kind of the secret sauce. They've just kind of done it all right the whole way through. I can tell you he's quite honestly been the model what you would want to see, at least as it's relating to this inspection process.
No, that's fantastic. And so, Ed, I mean, how do you get a 10-minute research time average? And tell guys that might be new to this or thinking about doing this. I mean, that's got to be a process change, because before, I'm sure you were 10 minutes on the phone, and now you could probably have 5 of those 10-minute conversations in the same 10 minutes digitally. How did you get your service writers to make that change?
Well, you kind of set your expectations when the customer's coming in the door, that you have a product that they haven't seen, and they all act like yeah, I've seen it all. And they come in with these paper sheets like we used to have. And I said, no, you're going to say, I need your email. And they give me the email, and we send it out to them, and they're just blown away. But when they see it, and they call us up, and I got one girl, she calls me, how much did you do everything in the red today? I mean, okay, so you have to, but besides, there's a lot of work, because you have to have all these estimates made up when you hit that button and send it, because you're telling them within 30 minutes you're going to be talking to them. And sometimes I spent late at night, and I change it. I'll call you in the morning, and then they look at it. But and actually now it comes when they come back to the shop, they're waiting, they're excited to see the report. They want it, they know the report's going to come. They want to know what they're going to need that visit, or is the car still good? So it's like, I call it a digital health check of the vehicle. We're going to do a digital health check. And yes, I've required on all my oil changes, all my service. It's a liability. I worked on your car last, and I want to let you know exactly what's going on, so you're safe, and your family and everybody else's families are safe.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's almost like gamification, right? We talk a lot about gamification in the industry, and ATI has been really talking a lot about gamification, but it really is that same attitude, is to come in and see if I've improved my vehicle health, like you said, over the last visit. And then it's almost like a win. It's a win for them to approve work for you.
Digital inspection definitely helps to get approved work. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Check. I love it. I love it. So, Mike, I know when we were out there at Super Conference, there was a lot of talk about digital best practices. And so for some people that may be new to it, you talked about looking at those metrics and how Ed's shop was just basically, they put those best practices in place, and then they just executed. Which ones do you focus on first? If somebody was new, what would you tell them to look at first? What do you do first? And how do they make sure that the work they're putting in is paying off for them?
Well, sure. I mean, if you're a brand new shop to the digital experience, if you're looking at inspection process for the first time, obviously it is about building the groundwork of understanding within the shop. So, you have to have an inspection that at least you can get started with and feel that it comfortably represents who you are as a business, your recommendation standards as you are a professional in the industry and in your neighborhood. So, obviously having that well-built foundation of a strong inspection standard, obviously then you really have to get the buy-in. So on the assumption that we already have the buy-in from staff on the inspection process, at this point, it's really getting them dialed in on how the digital experience will improve what they do. It improves their ability to communicate what they see. It improves their ability to communicate directly to the customer. In essence, you have to think of this. The digital inspection creates a communication path from the vehicle directly to the customer, right? It's no longer vehicle to the technician, from the technician to the service advisor or an estimator, and then to the service advisor, and then try and reinterpret that 3, communication phases down to the customer.
It's like that old game of telephone.
Exactly. This is a format that takes it from A to B, customer to vehicle. And so when your staff really can understand that, and trying to get them the best practices of, how do you take good pictures? What are the things that we impactfully take pictures of? And once that kind of basic inspection process is in play, I really honestly feel like the most important thing the shop can do is concentrate on trying to improve the experience for the customer. And by golly, it has to start with setting that expectation at drop off. So whether, if you're a brand new customer, you've got to make sure that you have 3 to 5 minutes set aside. Don't let the customer control that drop off experience and just blow you through the keys and go, right? because that derails the rest of your process the whole way through. And as Ed has talked about, you know, he's taken that kind of to the next degree, and his demographics and kind of where his shop is located in comparison allows him to be a little bit more controlling of drop the vehicle off versus waiter. But as I say, you know, the shop has to have best practice of making sure they're not de-skilled, and that you get that expectation set, the customer understands. So having the resources of, you know, either a touch screen or a monitor or a Chromecast TV where you can show a good inspection, that's the foundation to the entire experience. You get that thing down, the good inspection translates the whole way through, and it begins to do its work for you, right? It goes from being, it takes us more time to the process is simpler, easier, and more effective. So best practice is there. I mean, obviously the stats of making sure we get all the vehicles inspected, we have the ability to send that out, that makes sense. But it's really setting that expectation and making sure the quality inspection goes out with edited pictures. There's your best practice.
Do it, just do it, and follow that best practice. So Ed, you know, I know it probably didn't happen overnight, and it is a process to make the process change, but what would you say to somebody who is new, somebody who wants to be like you? Because I would imagine most people out there listening do, with the incredible success you have. But what were your challenges initially to get the digital technology into your shop and adopted? And what tips would you have, or pitfalls can you tell some folks maybe to avoid, things that you learned along the way?
Well, Auto Vitals came out and trained us on this, and we're really efficient on doing that. When my technicians spent time with my technicians, then after the trainers left, we had to critique our inspections, and my guys really engaged in it well, because they came to me and said, we need this on there, we're seeing this, so put this so we can alert the customer, and make a better inspection itself. We have a quick inspection. It depends on how long we've seen the car last, and we have our full digital inspection, and we judge how long the car's been here since we do that. But then of course the critiquing in the office and spending the time with the pictures and talking to the technicians if they taken a photo and we don't understand what they're showing us, so we can show the customer properly, and it gives the communication line that from the technician to us to the customer to present it, so we can actually tell them what's going on. The digital inspection is just the way of the future. I don't understand why a lot of people aren't doing it in the field around me. They're not a lot of people. A lot of my 20 group. I was introduced to it, of course, ATI, the ATI Super Conference, met Auto Vitals, and that was very successful there. Knowing Mike and other shops that have been doing it. Mike's shop was doing it. My 20 group was doing it. Got us involved, and it's been a successful thing. I would never turn back now.
And so you would say, I guess one of the first takeaways for somebody who's looking to do this is get your techs involved. Would you agree? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. My techs see the value in this 100%. We saw that we were doing the paper inspections, and we're really good at that. Okay, we just didn't have the photos and the communication digitally. And you talk to them on the phone. The technician would give me the sheet. I'd communicate over the phone. But once they see the digital inspection, it sells itself right there. They can see the problem. We actually took a video. We had a 2017 Jeep in. Had some suspension work done, and one of the joints were loose. And we took a video of it and sent it to him, and he sent that to the people who sold him the parts, and they sent him new parts right away. It was he was amazed. Now, of course, we're working on the whole family's fleet and his Corvettes and everything else. So it's pretty neat.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, that is amazing, man. When you get that, because like what Mike was saying earlier, right? It really is. It gives the technician a voice directly to the customer without actually having to talk to them, right? And then they get to stay busy. And so, I mean, that's got to be a pretty big change. I mean, were your guys, did they buy in right away? I mean, it sounds like they were giving you feedback, so they were helping to design the inspection sheet to some degree, and then they had to have seen the payoff on their check. And I imagine from there, it's just,
yes,
the moon.
Yes, and then we worked on, along that we worked on with shop, to get the gross profit, the shop efficiency, my parts margins, and everything else. But yeah, they bought in right away. They saw the value of it, and every day they see we learn more value of it. And it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and so then are you guys using the business control panel like in your shop meetings? And then are you incentivizing those guys off of kind of hitting their best practice goals? Is that how you keep them meeting it, or I mean, are you just got it down to such a science that you just have to meet with Mike every month and just keep raising the bar?
Yeah, we haven't incorporated that yet into our meetings, but I work on a bonus plan. We're not flat rate here. Work on a bonus plan. We work as a team. Like I said, my guys are homegrown. They've been here with me 11, 29, and 30 years. So we work as a team together, and we work with making my portal number for ATI. Once we hit that, there's a bonus package for them. And then I'm putting another package in for hours build right now, getting our hours built up to get our shop tech efficiency up. I brought my tech efficiency up after being pointed out in my 20 group, which is instrumental to helping my money masters. What the numbers in the meeting I looked at were totally different to what they told me, came back and evaluated me and what I needed to work on. I said, okay, they know what they're doing. So I went ahead and came back and implemented some things, talked to my guys about it. Look where we were off. And I took my tech efficiency from like low 70s to like 85% last year over the whole year. So I'm looking to grow that even higher this year. And I think that's important. And working as a team with the Auto Vitals product and the digital inspection and being successful that way as a team is bringing it there.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, that's it. Teamwork makes the dream work. You know, I've seen also a lot of reviews where your customers are leaving your reviews and they're talking about the inspection program in there. What are your customers saying? I mean, you'd mentioned a little bit ago about, you know, they haven't seen anything like that, but I mean, are they coming in and are they bringing their friends?
Yes, they are. They're telling other people, and people are learning more about it. So they're coming here to find out what's going on and waiting for that inspection report when they get here. And you know, people read. There's people that found me through Google. Of course, I have the full top fuel package from Auto Vitals with the website, with everything. So my CRM with customers relations, and as a matter of fact, the customer checked in this morning. He said, "You just texted me. I was just checking him in." So, I mean, and I do a little testing on my own, put a little vehicle in and I see how it works, and it works really well. Though it's the whole package that I have, which is with helping me with Google and my presence on the internet with the website, and then the digital inspections all put together. That Top Fuel website that I purchased has been just a phenomenal piece. Helped me build my business even stronger.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just get you the type of customer you're looking for and get them in and get them all educated and warmed up before they even hit the counter, and help drive that efficiency through the whole process, not just at the service counter, but also through the bays. Yeah. And then ultimately, yeah, get those reviews. You know, we've got the next, you know, the next addition to that to really help you out. And that's going to be, you know what? Actually, I don't know. We talked. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and drop that because we talked about it at Super Conference. But we're actually going to take those inspection results that your guys have been producing, push them out onto the website to help you know, that website work even better for you and get even more aligned customers. So imagine that is every time those techs are doing an inspection, it's creating web collateral, web content to get more eyeballs on your shop. So. You know, we really appreciate, you know, you, Ed, and the work that we've been able to do together and the help that we've been able to provide, and appreciate that, you know, the kind words, and glad that it's working for you. You know, before we go, what would you know, if I could just get you to maybe give us a little bit of insight on what's next for Platt's Performance Plus, Top Shop ATI. You know, are you looking to expand, grow, or you just like the niche that you're in right now and you're just going to keep cruising?
Yeah, we got to be a little bigger. We've talked about that. There's a little room to build. We've been talking about that. Actually, somebody was down when I was away at Super Conference to talk about that. Neaten up the office a little bit, remodel that. But it's just working on the numbers. That's what we're really working. Still, there's room to work on these numbers even better, I think. Being more efficient in the shop and just watching your margins, your parts margins. And of course, another thing I didn't mention is this, you know, I wouldn't be here without ATI and meeting Chubby and then meeting Mike and then get me into the 20 group, the Money Masters. It's all a process that I just started doing. But in the future, just going forth and growing the business. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go Money Masters, right? And so, you know, definitely recommend, people looking into ATI, definitely recommend people looking into the digital shop to help them. It was great out at Super Conference. I met a lot of young shop owners, right? And
Yeah.
so what would you say to them, Ed, is first introduction into the digital shop, first introduction into ATI, what's the path to success? Just pay attention and do what they tell you, or how do I get more involved in ATI and in the technology like AutoVitals provides the digital shop?
Well, I think a lot of shop owners have been there for a while. I've told all the new people that are coming in, we wish we were there at your age, early on. Probably if I was found chubby 20 years ago, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd be retired already, So there's a lot to take in here. That's for sure. But yeah, they have a lot of things in front of them that they can learn from to grow their business from other people that because you go to Super Conference and go to all the breakout sessions, talk to different shop owners, you're always learning. You're taking pieces back from somebody else all the time. What they did and what you're doing, they're taking something back to you, just sharing experience. So that's why it's so great to be there with everybody, and then learning what's new coming out with AutoVitals or anybody else that's there, all the vendors.
Yeah, no, that is gold right there. Write that down. Always be learning. I was impressed when Dave Murphy was standing up on day one and he was talking about that. What was your big takeaway? Always be learning. Always be prepared to learn, because there's a guy with 40 years in the business, and just you guys have really blazed a trail, and almost, that's why I was saying earlier, what's the next steps? Because it's almost like you got a can. You're in a position where you could just rip the top of it, pour it off, and be successful wherever you decided to be, and that's really incredible. Congratulations on that. You guys are an amazing team. And Mike, what would you say to the same folks, brand new, Josh and some of the Russ, some of the young guys I saw, young families and folks out there I saw at Super Conference. What advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you want to congratulate them, because just as Ed had mentioned, this is all too often a journey that we figure out, late in life. After we try the longer, harder plan and beat our foreheads against the wall for a while, we figure out maybe we need some help and we got to learn a new way. So, the first statement is always congratulations to the younger crowd. But, the one thing that I would probably say is most shop owners, when you get to the point where you got your name hanging on the front of a building, young or old, the reality is you're very strong of will, strong of confidence, and you have very strong belief systems in what you do. And one of the things I think is most important is don't let your belief systems be a limiting factor for you. Just as Ed kind of mentioned, I think one of the things that's just hugely important is be willing to have an open mind, always be willing to learn, be willing to try something new. So whether you're talking about technology or education or process, be willing to always learn something new. And I believe you should always be seeking out that knowledge. The more that you go after knowledge, the more proactive you can be in growing who you are and therefore growing your business. One of the most dangerous things you can do, and honestly, business school would teach you, there's no such thing as static in business. You're either growing or shrinking. If you're not constantly on the lookout for new technology, or how can I use that technology better, or new methods or new processes or new business practices, you run the risk of not only becoming stagnant, but becoming relevant in your market. Because, one of the things that has really helped, and Ed and many shop owners is if you're constantly working to reinvent who you are and improve the product to your customers return that to you with recommendations and referrals and just with continued growth. One of the things that I've noticed over the years with any of the digital shops, it's kind of an unspoken benefit, is you see a much reduced level of buyer's remorse. You don't see people coming back after the fact and saying, gosh, I talked to my brother who's a technician and he says I didn't need that. Digital inspections, for example, have helped solve that difficult problem that was around for many, many years, because guess what? The pictures are there. Same thing the customer saw is exactly what the brother's going to see. So that's just a small snippet of what it can do and how it's transformed the business. But honestly, best advice, continue to have an open mind and educate yourself. Always learning.
That's fantastic. Well, guys, time flies. I really want to thank both of you for coming on and sharing your experience. Ed, I mean, congratulations. That's an incredible achievement. And, in the size of your shop, and it's just an amazing story. And Auto Vitals is really, honored to have contributed and to help there. And I'm, and I'm sure ATI and Mike, you said the same. Tune in next week, every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, for the next episode of Digital Shop Talk Radio. Until then, get out there and make some money, and keep American businesses strong. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.